We're looking forward to learning from you. We are looking forward to sharing with you also what we are doing, and in a peer review effort also get your contribution to the new trend in our work, which is about going for measuring social inclusiveness and developing, if needed, a new methodology to assess impact of social inclusion policies.
I think that something has to be changed. The global economic and financial crisis in 2008-2009 and its negative impacts made people around the world recognize the importance of social policy and of the environment. The post-2015 development agenda is expected to guide global efforts to realize this commitment. And this provides a unique opportunity to strengthen the social dimension of sustainable development.
Pourquoi c'est important de mesurer l'inclusion sociale? C'est important pour chacun des pays pour évaluer sa propre position, ses propres performances par rapport à un ensemble de critères explicites. C'est important au niveau dynamique pour voir l'évolution de la situation et si on se rapproche de l'objectif de lutte contre la pauvreté et l'exclusion sociale. Et c'est enfin important au niveau de l'évaluation des politiques et de la comparaison de leurs performances dans la poursuite de cet objectif.
It's not about economy. It's really not about nations either. It's about people. It's about the civil, the perception of the people living in all these countries.
First of all, it's an issue of democracy. Nothing for the people without the people. I'm sure you all know this. Second, it's a question of accuracy. How, without a proper needs assessment with the people who are actually experiencing this situation on the ground, how can we formulate solutions? How can we begin to understand what's going on if we don't talk to the people themselves?
And if you speak to indigenous peoples and you also speak to poor people, you find that in many ways, yes, of course, income is a priority, but other elements of poverty are a huge priority as well. For instance, not being able to control their own fate, to not be able to have a role in deciding how their lives progress.
So we have identified groups of excluded populations, and they form a very big percentage of the population. That is why we have started to take interest in issues of social inclusion. How do we empower them so that they can also have a voice in the development debates, so that they can also go ahead and try and create some kind of meaningful livelihood for themselves? And I believe this is what the workshop is all about. Not just to address, but also to monitor and evaluate how some programs which are already in place on social inclusion are really doing. Are they succeeding? Are they failing? If they're succeeding, what can we learn from it? If they're failing, what can we learn from it? And also to hold stakeholders accountable.
I think it's absolutely essential that when you're measuring the situation of people in poverty, that you also try to implicate or get these people involved in the process of defining the indicators. And actually some quite innovative things have been happening on that. For instance, I remember a project where you got 50-50 committee, which composition was 50-50 academics and people living in poverty.
In some regions, you have better access to data. For example, I work on Latin America. We were able to get data that looked at access to secondary education, access to housing, access to formal jobs, and access to things like healthcare by race and by gender. But those sorts of data are not available for other regions. So I think it's important first to define the concept, develop some sort of common consensus around the concept, and then figure out ways. In some regions you won't be able to get data, but I think you need to remain true and valid to that concept, even if you can't fill in all the data. But I think it's very important to try to understand, even if we aren't going to measure it, that this is a multi-dimensional concept that includes notions of both social services, lack of discrimination, and democracy, or some sort of political system that allows for greater participation. Maybe not democracy with votes, but some sort of political system that allows for greater voice.